Doomsday, December 18th, 2026, is shaping up to be one of the biggest box office battles since Barbenheimer, with Avengers Doomsday and Dune Part 3 will be releasing on the same day, a week before Christmas. Neither studio has budged on their dates yet, leading to speculation about sharing theaters at the same time. Could it create another double feature viral trend like Barbenheimer? Will it be very successful for both of them? Will one overtake the other at the box office and take more of the demographic? But let's break them down in this special episode of Doomsday on Raiders of the Lost podcast.
What's up, movie friends? Doomsday. What a day in theaters this will be. And I think just keep them both in that release date.
Yeah.
You know, it really worked for Barbie and Oppenheimer. And you can argue both films made more than they would have if they were a few weeks apart.
It's possible, yeah.
Now, this is a really great chance to get huge numbers of people excited to go to cinema, excited to go to the theaters. It could be a cultural thing. It could be the same kind of phenomenon that happened with Barbenheimer that theaters and studios have been trying to make happen. And this would be so much fun to be able to see these films, both of these films either on the same day as a double feature or see them on the same weekend. I think that this will absolutely help everything about the industry. And, you know, it could pave the way for the idea that, you know what, maybe we don't always have to avoid release slots of other movies that are as big as ours. Maybe we can share in the pie, and the pie will be bigger for everybody.
Just like those bumper stickers you see on the back of people's cars. Coexist, man. Coexist. I think there is a world where they can both release at the same time and both be huge hits. Obviously, I think it's clear Doomsday is going to make $2 billion. Yes. There's no denying that Doomsday will absolutely blow Dune out of the water at the end of the day in terms of box office revenue.
It's not a competition.
Yeah, but they will dominate the box office and will pull in at least $2 billion fucking dollars. All the Avengers movies do. You know, Dune Part 1 and Part 2, successful films. The first one wasn't a huge box office hit, but it justified a sequel, which made more money and was still also a huge hit. Will Dune make $1 billion? I doubt it, but did anyone expect Oppenheimer to make $1 billion? They are both rated R. I mean, this is rated R. Doomsday is rated R. I meant Oppenheimer and this are rated R.
Gotcha.
So they have, that's an interesting thing.
Dune 3 is rated R?
Maybe it won't be.
It's PG-13.
Oh, no, you're right. PG-13. Yeah. What am I saying?
I don't know. You just pulled that out of your ass.
I did just pull it out of my ass. It's been a long day. We were just in London yesterday, so a lot of travel. Anyways, no excuses. No more.
No more excuses after that one.
But does Dune Part 3 have the potential to make $1 billion? I think it could get pretty close, like 750 probably. I think it could do that. So when it comes to who's going to make more money, it's no-brainer. Avengers Doomsday will make probably twice as much, if not 3 times as much money.
The Dune movies are extremely successful, but they are not on the $1 billion range successful, which is, I mean, it's insane to realize how successful those movies are that make $1 billion. It's really still, it's unbelievable. And there's just I would say a large number of people who just Dune's not their thing.
However, you could argue, you know, the first Dune movie, people were like, I don't know what that is, I'm not going to go see it. But then they eventually saw the second one, and they get more into it. And the second one was bigger, bolder, more action-packed. Chalamet is a bigger star, is the lead.
Oh, yeah.
Chani with Zendaya. So you could argue that the fan base has grown for the Dune movies. More people are interested in the books. More people are interested in the conclusion and more interested in a great trilogy. You know, trilogies have always been something that have existed in cinema that we've always respected, whether it's the Godfather trilogy or the Ocean's trilogy. I used to always love that. The Batman trilogy. So I think trilogies are important. Spider-Man trilogy. And I think the finale of a trilogy gets even more people into the box office into theaters than ever for a franchise and an IP. So you could argue that maybe the third film will be the best performing one.
Yeah, I think it definitely will be. I think that if it stays on the release date as Doomsday, it will put it over the $1 billion edge. Just like how I don't think Oppenheimer would have made $1 billion. I think it would have made 600, 700 million if it wasn't for Barbenheimer.
Maybe, yeah.
It still would have been insanely successful, but I think that the Barbenheimer phenomenon brought a lot of people to see Oppenheimer who would not have seen it.
And it's different because Barbie was such a commercially marketable film in general. In general, you could argue Barbie probably could have made $1 billion even if it wasn't attached to Barbenheimer because the IP is so massive, so generational. For 60 years, people have been playing with Barbies. Girls have been growing up with Barbie dolls. There's never been a live action version of it. There's been cartoons, animated movies, so many products made for it over the years. But to finally have a live action movie with a huge star, Margot Robbie, that was poised to make $1 billion.
Yes.
Dune has never been poised to make $1 billion. So it might not come close. It might get past $500 million, I think. So it's different in terms of that. So box office performance, it won't come near Barbenheimer, I don't think. But Nolan movies always generally come close to $1 billion, even if it's not an IP-based one like the Batman movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman Begins didn't make a ton of money, but Dark Knight Rises, just juggernauts at the box office. Inception, juggernaut. Interstellar, juggernaut. Let's take a quick break from Doomsday to talk about the sponsor of this episode, MoviePosters.com, our great friends. MoviePosters.com has a wide range of every poster you could ever imagine owning. Use our code RAIDERS at checkout to get 10% off your entire order.
But there's a huge difference between Barbenheimer and Doomsday, and that's Barbenheimer were completely different films.
Yeah.
Different genres. Absolutely, it couldn't be more polar opposites than Oppenheimer and Barbie. I can't think of a dual release that had such polar opposites.
I mean, those great, the memifications of it was great. It was like the pitch black painted house next to the purple pink house. Like, that was great.
The juxtaposition of the films is what made it special. This does not have that. It doesn't have juxtaposition. It doesn't have any kind of contrasting, really. They're both gigantic sci-fi epics. A lot of the same audiences, a lot of the same built-in crowds. So that's a big difference from Barbenheimer to Doomsday. That it won't have that same virality that Barbenheimer had, just because of how absurdly different the movies were. That's what the joke was.
Sure, but I think once we see more of these movies, that'll open the door for what the memes will look like, what the organic marketing will look like for the audience to do it for the studios. Once we finally get some footage for Dune. So Dune Part 3 wrapped in 2025 in November. We can probably anticipate some footage at CinemaCon, which will be in April. Maybe the first trailer release. Mm-hmm. Doomsday, they've put out 4 teasers in theaters playing ahead of Avatar: Fire and Ash. So we got the teaser first with Steve Rogers coming back as Captain America. We got Thor, Chris Hemsworth coming back. We also got the X-Men one. We have Cyclops, Magneto, and Professor X. And the 4th one showcased Shuri as Black Panther, M'Baku, Namor, and the Fantastic Four. So we have 4 really interesting, really cool teasers for Doomsday. Mm-hmm. Wrapped a lot sooner than Dune did. But Dune, we can anticipate once we see some footage for both, then the memes will start. Then Doomsday marketing will start. Yeah. That the audience will make themselves. That's what's so cool about these dual release days of movies. Other movies have tried it. It didn't work so well. And, the audience tried to do it. Glicked, whatever you wanted to say. Kind of worked. Kind of worked. But I think people weren't as excited for Gladiator 2 as they were for Wicked in general. People were hyped for that film, Wicked, but a lot of the fan base for Gladiator 2 were split and divided in terms of, I didn't want a sequel to Gladiator, or I'm excited to see a sequel to Gladiator. So I think the anticipation for Gladiator 2 kind of killed Glicked in terms of being a thing and being a trend and being a meme. Does that make sense? Because a lot of people, even I talked to, like, I still haven't seen Gladiator 2. I refused to see it, or I didn't like it. But Dune is a beloved property from cinephiles and people who love film. We love Dune. Obviously, everyone loves Avengers, and Doomsday is going to be sick. So I think the hype is way better. It's more poised for memification like Barbenheimer was than something like Glicked.
This day of Doomsday gives audiences the ability to see pretty much every actor in Hollywood in one day.
The carpets are going to be insane, too.
Yeah, just the sheer number of actors in these films is just astronomical. To have this many A-listers coming out with a movie in one weekend it's never been done before. The size of these casts, it's so deep of just A-listers, because we're bringing back the X-Men, combining with the Marvel stars, and then you have the incredible cast of Dune. There's never been a time in the history of Hollywood where audiences could see this many famous faces that they love on one day of theaters in theaters.
That's
It's
a funny
unbelievable.
point.
Think about it.
I mean, let's run through the casts first. We'll start with Doomsday. We have Robert Downey Jr., obviously, I think is the most exciting part of Doomsday. Undeniable. The reason why this whole franchise and universe is such an amazing piece of cinema. You know, Downey is the secret sauce. He's the key as Iron Man, but it's obviously Victor Von Doom in this film, Dr. Doom. Then we have Chris Hemsworth coming back as Thor, Chris Evans coming back as Steve Rogers, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, Sebastian Stan, Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, Letitia Wright as Shuri, Black Panther, Paul Rudd, Scott Lang, Ant-Man, Wyatt Russell, John Walker, U.S. Agent, Tenoch Huerta Meja as Namor, Evan Moss Bachrach as Ben Grimm, The Thing, Simu Liu as Shu Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Kelsey Grammer's coming back as the Beast, which is really cool, and Hank McCoy, Louis Pullman as Bob Sentry, Daniel Ramirez as Falcon, Joseph Quinn, Johnny Storm, Human Torch, David Harbour, Alexei Shostakov, Red Guardian, Winston Duke, M'Baku, Hannah John Kamen as Ava Star, Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier, Professor X, Ian McKellen back as Eric Lensher, Magneto.
You can just call him Magneto, man. You don't have to say all of the names.
Alan Cumming, Nightcrawler. Rebecca Romijn.
Not Kurt Wagner.
Fine, I'm done. Well, fuck off. Rebecca Romijn back as Mystique, but she's not doing the makeup, right? I think they're doing CGI.
I don't know. We'll see.
James Marsden back as Cyclops in a really amazing teaser. Channing Tatum as Gambit. Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. And I'm sure there are so many others that we haven't seen on the chairs and so many more that I didn't list off. But it's just the insane, like you said, A-list star power just in Doomsday alone. It's probably the biggest ever in the history of entertainment, in the history of cinema. This amount of stars, A-listers, talented performers, and actors being part of one fucking movie.
But then if you do a double feature in the same day, you can see Chalamet, Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Josh Brolin, Robert Pattinson, Jason Momoa. This cast is unbelievable, and it's going to run much deeper than that. Rebecca Ferguson for Dune Part 3.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
And I'm sure we'll be seeing Christopher Walken back.
Javier Bardem will be back as Stilgar. I don't think we'll see Christopher Walken. He's the Emperor.
Yeah,
he's just on his. He's in a prison planet basically.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, maybe they'll get a shot of it, but like, there's really like three.
He's in Azkaban.
Yeah, basically, he's on his planet like doing nothing. He's trying to train and start a car. But Jason Momoa playing Duncan Idaho. Duncan Idaho is coming back, obviously, but his kids, Jason Momoa's children, Ida Brooke and Nakoa Wolf Momoa, will star as the twin children of Paul and Chani in this film, later the second in Ganima. Javier Bardem coming back as Stilgar, of course. Charlotte Rampling as Gaius Helen Moheim is going to be a huge part of the film, and I'm excited to see her come back because she's such a talented actress and such a presence on screen. Goodness, she's one of my favorite parts of Dune, the first film. But then Robert Pattinson, I think, is the most exciting part of Dune Part 3. There's no official confirmation of who he's playing yet. We assume he's playing Scytale, who is a shape-shifting, conniving, manipulative genius who's basically part of a conspiracy to try to overthrow Paul from the throne as emperor. Can't wait to get to see what he's playing as well in terms of that character. But like Anthony said, on December 18th, the amount of talent that's going to be seen in theaters is going to be gargantuan.
Unheard of. Absolutely unheard of.
But just think about the marketing for these movies, dude. The Dune always had. He just knocked over all of his DVDs.
Continue.
Dune's always had great marketing and carpets, and they were fantastic and visually stunning. And the stars, the outfits, everything they're hot. But the Avengers, the Doomsday carpets are just going to be insanely big. Like, they're going to need to shut down all of Hollywood just to have these carpets.
They should share carpets.
Huh?
They should do shared carpets.
What do you mean? Oh, like Doomsday carpets.
Doomsday carpets. What's really cool, think about this, Pattinson, obviously a very busy guy. He's filming the Batman Part 2 right now as we speak.
Is he really?
Yeah.
As soon as he finished Dune, he went to Batman?
No. He finished Dune a while ago. He did the drama after Dune, I believe.
When did he finish Dune?
Well, before the Odyssey.
Oh, that's okay. So
Yeah.
he did Dune, then he filmed the
Odyssey,
Odyssey,
the drama,
the drama, and then the Batman.
and then the Batman.
When did the Batman start?
January
Started in
2027. 2026, I mean. Started this month.
It started this month.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what it said. It said principal photography started in January.
That's pretty cool.
So he's shooting a Batman scene right now.
That's pretty awesome.
Think about that.
Well, it's Sunday, so he's probably not.
No, the day of this episode's airing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's what I mean. Technically, right now, he's learning his lines. He's in London learning his lines.
That's pretty cool. No, I think that Pattinson is just, oh my God, his 2026, 2027 is fucking stacked.
It's insane.
Absolutely stacked. Zendaya, too. Zendaya's going to, Anya.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
Spidey.
Florence Pugh's in both of these films, which is cool. Is Florence the only person that's in both films?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Big day for Florence.
And this is basically also, it's Disney versus Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, Disney with MCU versus Warner Brothers with Dune. And Dune is such I think, a big IP for Warner Brothers going forward. And Denis Villeneuve has just been so great at crafting this IP in this franchise. The Russo brothers work and operate so well when they're making Avengers movies, I think. And so I think they're the no-brainer to return to come back to this. But at the end of the day, like Andy said, these films are very, very similar. Both big sci-fi blockbusters. Overall, though, the big differences come, I think, with the tone. Dune's going to be very atmospheric, more dramatic, serious, political. There's going to be great themes of religion, ecology, tyranny, war. Whereas we don't know much about Doomsday, but we can expect it to be a nostalgia-based tone, similar to Deadpool and Wolverine, because you have so many characters. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more of a serious tone because of Doom taking over the world or the universe or whatever it is. So it will feel kind of like a war film as well. But it's an Avengers movie, so it's going to be a lot of quips, a lot of one-liners, a lot of comedy based in the actions of the characters with spectacle, team-ups, epic battles, multiverse spanning spectacle as well. High energy. It's probably going to move really fast, Doomsday, because of how many characters there are.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a quick-moving movie, which I think could be good or bad depending on how well they capture it.
But something that the Russos have always impressed me in regards to their Marvel films is they've always had a great ability of infusing drama and heartfelt moments into their Marvel films and their superhero films. Even no matter how big they got, like Infinity War, like Endgame, they still were very emotional and very moving. So that's something that I think they which is why they work so well in that world. They know how they have the right instincts, and they're just like the perfect people for the job, which they proved, of really making us love these characters and feel for them in amazing ways that we're lacking in so many other adaptations, especially since they left. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with these characters, and we've already said goodbye to some of them, so we're seeing them again, and we'll be doing another goodbye with them. And again, I think they're also holding back on the total cast. I think we're gonna be seeing some Guardians people in this movie, for sure. So I think that there's still a lot left that has been kept secret. I'm just curious how, because Dune's been written. They have the framework of an entire dense novel to work with, to craft their story. And it is a big story, but it's already been written. What I'm so curious about Doomsday. It's
already catchy.
Is how big the scope is and how big the scale is. The sheer size of this cast and the size of the scope of the storytelling. Being able to make it cohesive, move along at a good pace where it doesn't feel overwhelming, and where it feels like you have a strong narrative thread from start to finish. And I'm sure it's a 2-film arc, so it's a really big story
leading up to Secret Wars in 2027.
Yeah,
December
exactly.
17th, yeah.
So, and not just the sheer number of actors, people in the cast, but like they're all in different areas. I mean, you have Steve Rogers is in a different time period, and then you have the X-Men, which are probably in a different verse, and where all these characters are scattered. The first hour of that movie is probably going to be where everyone is and how they get brought together. My guess if you're gonna do if you're gonna try to connect these huge stories of characters into one narrative, there has to be a lot of framework for how does everybody unite into one moment. And so it's just going to be a challenge of this branch that leads into like one uniform line for what the story and the main conflict of it is going to be up against Dune. I'm just really curious. And like, if Doom is going after all these people, it's not going to be like a 60v1 fight. So what other conflicts are going to be in the way of our heroes? What are they going to be? What obstacles are going to be overcoming? Doom, I think, has a lot more up. He has to have so much up his sleeve for him to be able to stand up against this many characters.
That's a fair point. You know, is he going to go after them 1v1, one by one, and this faction over here? Because Doomsday's the 5th Avengers film, and it's written by Stephen McFeely, so he's got his work cut out for him with this. And I don't know much about the comics, so I'm sure there are answers they're pulling from the comics to do this. This will be the culmination of Phase 6. But what's interesting is it's replacing the planned Avengers Kang Dynasty. You know, what was that going to be? Mm-hmm. Is Kang going to be in this movie? Are they just going to pretend like that never happened, all those post-credit scenes? You know, the shift is going to focus from Kang the Conqueror to Doctor Doom as the central antagonist. It's bringing together, like you said, multiple teams. The Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Wakandans, the Thunderbolts, all these other teams and factions and groups. How are you going to connect it all? Because Infinity War did a great job of doing that, connecting all these separate parts of, I guess, the fight, the war, the rebellion.
And that seems minuscule.
That seems,
in comparison.
It seems like the first Avengers movie now.
The first Avengers movie seems like a one-woman show now.
In terms of the scale, a one-woman show.
Yeah, just like one person on stage.
So we have multiple threats. We have incursions, crossovers, multiverses. What the fuck? And it all has to set up Secret Wars, which I don't know what that will be. So I don't know much about the comics, but I'm sure they have a way figured out how to bring them all together. But again, will it be all the characters that we know, or will they be different versions of them from different universes? I don't fucking know, man.
I think that it's gonna be. I don't think anyone's gonna be different. I think it's gonna be all the character versions that we've seen in the movies. That seems to be just the way to do it. All the versions that audiences know. I don't think we're going to get a different Thor. We're not going to get a different X-Men. It's going to be the ones that we grew up, we watched in all these movies before in these other iterations. That's the only way to do it, I think.
Yeah, and then whereas Doom
think about the Doctor Strange scene. When we had these different versions of the characters, it didn't feel right. You know what I mean? None of them, even the Professor X one, it was just like, it's Professor X, but it's not our Professor X that we've known.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta do the ones that have been in the movie adaptations.
You mean the multiverse?
Yeah.
Multiverse
of Madness.
Yeah,
Though that was a different Professor X.
Sorry, because you said think of the Doom movie.
That's the Doctor Strange.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Wind it back.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, because I didn't connect with any of those versions of those characters.
Exactly.
Whereas Dune Part 3 has source material that we can kind of predict what's going to happen with the movie in a lot of ways. You know, Dune Messiah is, I'm assuming, the framework for the film, but also it seems like and clearly that there's going to be a little bit of Children of Dune, the third book, mixed in as well, because Chani and Paul's children have been cast as like young kids in this movie, who we don't really see until Children of Dune, obviously. So are we going to see a blend of both those stories? And now what's interesting about, I think, Dune Messiah and the inspiration that Denis Villeneuve took from Frank Herbert when he was writing Dune Part 3 and Dune Part 2, really.
With John Spaeths.
Yeah,
who's a really good writer.
You know, taking Herbert's original intention to avoid making Paul a heroic figure, but wanting to critique the idea of what a Messiah is, what an anti-hero is. Because, you know, in the book Dune, Paul is much more heroic of a figure versus when you get to Messiah, the book, where he's definitely a darker version of himself and a dictator in a lot of ways.
And you see that at the end of Dune 2, you felt that.
Exactly. So he took the framework of the tone of the character from Messiah and brought it to the end of Dune Part 2 after he drinks the water of life to really show this conqueror, this person who's going to lead a holy war across the entire universe, across every planet that humans are on. And we're going to set up 12 years later, after the events of Dune Part 2, Paul Atreides, Emperor of the known universe now, has led a holy war. I'm sure we'll see conflicts that have gone on with his war, battles, I'm sure, action, death, the constant images of his dreams following the unknown figure, the woman, across a barren desert while starving people surround them, which turns out to obviously be Lady Jessica once he finally sees her as she turns her face. That's going to happen. His horrible purpose, as he calls it in the books. And so he's following that path, and he's doing it, and now we're probably going to see the death toll, the billions, the trillions of lives lost because of his holy war.
Yeah, the way that Villeneuve has framed both of his Dune films is with prologues. And we get these great narrated prologues to really set up the world. And I think that...
Both narrated by Chani.
Yeah, both narrated by Zendaya's Chani. And they're both 5 to 7 minutes long. They are very just reminiscent of what Peter Jackson did with the first Lord of the Rings film, Fellowship of the Ring. 7-minute prologue. Get the audience up to speed with what this world is. It works really well. I imagine that he's going to do something similar with the third film. We're going to get some kind of narrated prologue. It would make sense to have Shani narrate it again to give us information about what the last 11 years has been like with Paul as the new emperor, and to get us up to speed.
I'm sorry, it's Irulan narrates part 2 opening, Princess Irulan.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Copy that.
Not Chani.
You're right.
Sorry about that.
So maybe it'll be who will be the third person who narrates, but I expect it will be another prologue type of situation, just because there's so much that happened between the end of Dune Part 2 and where Dune Messiah will take place. You gotta get the audience up to speed.
What was that, Messiah?
Messiah. I did it. You were clean. I expect another prologue, is what I'm saying.
I am predicting
Yes.
the narrator of the opening of Dune Part 3 to be Duncan Idaho.
Okay.
I am
Okay.
predicting that.
Now-
Jason Momoa is coming back, and it's going to be a really interesting version of the character.
Now, without spoilers, his role will be more significant than in the other Dune films.
Much more significant. I mean, he dies in Dune Part 1.
I mean, yeah,
not
obviously,
even
but
in Part 2.
more significant than in Dune Part 1, where he's just
Yeah,
he's like the 8th, like the 10th most important character.
Yeah,
even
sure.
more-
I mean, even in the book, he has a lot more to do in Dune 1, but there's a lot of cut scenes that you can't do. So Duncan Idaho dies in Dune Part 1, protecting Paul and Jessica as they're with Liet Kynes, trying to escape the Harkonnens after they've infiltrated the Sietch that they're hiding in. And he dies in battle. Now, obviously, that's a premonition that Paul has at the beginning of the film. Like he says, when he talks to Duncan first, after Duncan flies in like a badass, tells him about his dream where he died in battle. And that's the battle that he saw. That's what happens. That's how he dies. So I can talk about how he comes back if you want.
No, we'll save it for the film.
But he is coming back, but it's a different...
Gotcha, guys. You don't... Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough to explain
You
what it
just
is.
say he has more to do.
Yeah, he's coming back, and he's got a very prominent role.
Okay.
He's going to be different but the same. And he's going to be, in a lot of ways, the right-hand man of Paul in this film.
Gotcha.
So he'll be by his side a lot, but also he has a lot to do with Alia. Now, Alia Atreides will have a huge role in Dune Part 3, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. There'll be a 12-year pass. I don't know how long they're going to go in the future. In the book, Alia's 15 in Dune Messiah. And in Dune, she's a little kid. She's 3, killing people.
Slitting their throats.
But but obviously, it's probably going to be longer than 12 years because Anya Taylor-Joy is playing Alia.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be more like
It's got to be 20 years.
something like that.
Yeah.
She's probably playing like an 18, 19, 20-year-old. So there'll be a significant time jump for sure to accommodate Anya Taylor-Joy's age being appropriate to how long it's been since the last film ended. Which connects to her situations with Duncan Idaho in the future film. So Alia is going to have a huge role in this film. Irulan will have a pretty good role as well. I won't spoil her stuff, what's going on, but Princess Irulan, played by Florence Pugh, will have a lot to do. But really, I think it's mostly going to be. I think it's going to surprise people how much Duncan, Idaho, is going to be in this film.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it. Now let's talk about some more about Doomsday and specifically Robert Downey Jr. and some theories I have about what his character will be.
I love a good theory.
But let's head to our intermission first.
Oh yeah, let's do that real quick before we continue. The best way to support our show, you all know. Go to patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. There you get access to bonus content that only posts on Patreon. Access to ad-free versions of every single episode. Access to our Discord. There's 5 different tiers of membership. Find out which one's best for you, but for as little as $10 for an entire annual membership, you get access to the Discord. So go there, patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Also, leaving those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple are so integral to our show's growth and chartability. Thank you so much to everyone who goes over to Apple to leave written reviews. Also, leaving those 5-star reviews on Spotify and Apple. Just the ratings are very helpful in general as well. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. The only reason we got flown out to London to participate in Shelter's marketing for Jason Statham's new movie with Black Bear is because you engage with our content on social media. You've helped us get such big followings. But let's keep that going. Let's hit 200,000 on Instagram this year. So follow us there, leave comments and likes. And in the meantime, let's take it away with the sponsor of this episode,
who are movieposters.com, the number one place to get your posters online today. Use our promo code Raiders10. That always gets you 10% off your orders, as well as the affiliate link in the description of this episode and our social media bios. That gives James and I a little cut of the action. Movieposters.com has a gigantic selection of pretty much every film and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs, just like that beautiful Sinners backlit poster behind James makes your home pop like a movie theater. They also have all sorts of classic films, international prints, collectibles like rare originals, lobby cards. For every cinephiles, this is a dream come true for your collection. Go to movieposters.com. Always use the promo code Raiders10 for 10% off. The affiliate link in our description of this episode, and get yourself a boatload of posters and frames.
Let's get into the intermission, Anthony. Are you ready for the movie quotes competition?
Born ready.
All right, here we go. You need to get yourself a mate, girl. I'm sorry, hold on. You need to get yourself a girl, mate. Or perhaps the reason you practice 3 hours a day is that you've already found one and are otherwise incapable of wooing said trumpet. You're not a eunuch, are you?
If you were looking for the opportune moment, that was it. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Curse of the Black Pearl.
All right, here's mine.
One of the best character introductions of all time.
Yeah. I know what I have to do now. I've got to keep breathing because tomorrow the sun will rise. Who knows what the tide could bring?
I don't know.
That's Castaway.
Oh, Castaway.
Yeah, talking to his friend after he got back.
So good.
You know, the movie made $450 million.
It was the 9th most successful film that year it came out.
Crazy.
Guess this movie release year. T3, Rise of the Machines.
2003.
That's your guess?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Thanks. What year did Contact come out?
1990. Ooh. 97?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hey.
Let's go, baby.
Well done.
Movie pop quiz time. Anthony, what cars are used in both Italian Job movies, the original and the remake, for the heist? And what colors are they and why?
Mini Coopers.
Okay.
Blue, red, white.
And why?
Why is because they're fucking sick, bruh. The British flag?
Yes. There you go. 3 for 3.
Thanks, man. Wow, 3 for 3. I like it. All right. How many Zemeckis Hanks movies are there, and can you name
them? We have Castaway.
1.
Home. What was the one called?
I'm not giving you the answer.
What was it?
I can't.
Shit, what was it called?
Hey, what was that? What was that one that?
Wasn't it called Home?
No.
I never saw it. House.
Just do ones you know for now. Maybe it'll come to you later. You can't ask me for an answer. Hey, what was that last one they did?
Okay, Castaway. Oh man, why am I blanking so hard right now?
Damn.
Whoa, I can't think of any right now. Besides those two.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Of course.
Polar Express.
Polar. Okay, yeah.
Here.
Here, that's what it's called.
Here, not house. Or
That's
home.
at home and house.
And then, what was the fourth one?
That's 4.
No, there's 5.
Oh.
Sorry, hold on. There's 5. 1 second. I
Toy
didn't. I
Story.
should have screenshotted it. Zemeckis, Hanks movies. Hanks movies. Pinocchio. The new Pinocchio.
Wow, I just took a huge L there.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get Forrest Gump.
I'm pretty tired.
I slept like a baby last night.
Well, I'm still, the time change is killing me.
I slept on the plane.
Yeah, I didn't sleep on the plane at all. We just got back from London yesterday. We flew 12 hours.
Business class, baby.
Oh my god.
With
it was
a bed?
So nice.
Oh my god, with the bed and the food.
I think the best part of business class is the food.
The food
well,
was
actually being able
amazing.
to sit however you want to.
Yeah, and also having the sliding door, having your own enclosed
Everything
space.
about business class.
But
I can never fly
I'm
again.
ruined. I'm ruined.
I wish I never did. I'm fucked.
I was sleeping, lying down with my feet up, just like I was dead. I was cooked. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
And then I was just reclined, legs stretched out, eating great food. Oh my god. Holy shit, what an experience.
Thanks, Blackberry Picks. Anthony, would you like to get into any haters we have this week?
Yes, sir. First up, we have 1 second. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Got it. Fan of movie films on our 10 best movies of the year. His top 5 are Phantom Thread, Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, One Battle After Another, and Punch Drunk Love for PTA. Unsubscribed, because we were saying most people haven't seen many of his movies until, and then he said he saw all of his movies. So, congrats, man. Good job. Luke Boyd, I just noticed that in all of y'all's goated times as podcasters, y'all haven't done 100 greatest directors of all time. That's a fire episode idea.
That would take a while to put that list together.
I could do it.
And he could do it.
Unsubscribe. Love the pod. Y'all are W Rizzlers. Anthony, D&D nerd here. It's Dungeon Game Master. Gotta unsubscribe from my boy Mike Wheeler. We were calling Mike like the storyteller or whatever.
Well, they called him the storyteller.
He's the game master.
No, but I mean, in the movie, he was the. That's like the. You know what I mean?
Also, Gudliff. Guys, it's Dungeon Master. Nerd licenses revoked. Unsubscribe.
I've never played D&D.
Drew Shetty. I'm so grateful for a positive review of Fire and Ash. Had a great time. Appreciated what you guys said. Subscribed. People hate the Avatar movies.
People like to hate.
They hate them. When I wore sunglasses on the movie news after my CNN interview. Landon, wow. Anthony, fame has changed you. Unsubscribed.
Now business class too? She.
Surprised I even showed up at all, man. You're lucky I'm here.
Yeah, I know.
That's it for this week's Unsubscribes, guys.
We have a great 5-star written review from Apple Podcasts from Charlie Films. Your guys' podcast slaps.
Yes.
Banger podcast, 5 stars. If you guys read this, my letterbox is girl or $20.99. And my profile pic is Winnie the Pooh, but as a mafia boss. All right, Charlie Films, thanks. We're going to have to look that up. Appreciate the 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. All right, Anthony, what is your streaming recommendation for this episode?
What's yours?
Mine is Rush on Prime Video.
Mine is The Terror on Amazon Prime. Great TV series, limited series, awesome movie. Awesome show.
All right, let's get back into breaking down Doomsday. Again, 2 massive sci-fi blockbusters coming out the same day.
Yes.
2 iconic IPs right now. Avengers is obviously bigger, but Dune's getting a lot of prominence lately, I think, with younger people and modern audiences.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, I am way more excited for Dune Part 3 than I am for Avengers Doomsday. Not to say I don't like the Avengers movies or the MCU, but y'all know how diehard I am on Dune. But we have one of the most incredible visionary directors making Dune Part 3. Denis Villeneuve, who's been treating the source material with such care and adapting it so well. Making a lot of changes, yes. Most significantly, Chani not having a child yet with Paul, as well as leaving Paul at the end of the film. That's not in the books. In the books, they have a son that's killed by the Harkonnens in a battle. And she always supports Paul. But it's definitely more interesting when you make her a character that's not fully devoted to him and opposes him in a lot of ways. The person he loves the most in the world opposing him. I think that's really interesting. Lots of other changes here and there, but I think that's the biggest, most prominent change that they made from the books to the films. Now, what changes will he make from Dune Messiah? I'm sure a lot of people haven't read Dune Messiah. It's a much easier to read book. It's much thinner. It's probably less than half the amount of pages. It's an easier read. And I will say that the book itself is less on battles and less on fighting and war. Like the second film is very much a war film. The third film will be, I think, a lot more espionage-based, which I think could be very interesting.
And also, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Doomsday, but we've seen a lot of Marvel movies. We've seen a lot of these movies. We know what they are. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But Dune gave us something new, and I think that there's going to be a lot of excitement and mystery about Dune 3, and Villeneuve giving us, again, something that we've never seen before, which is why I'm more excited for that film for sure. And I just love the story. I really like the world building and the lore that Herbert created. It's just a remarkable story. But I am looking forward to Doomsday. I'm most curious about Downey's role as Victor Von Doom. And I think the biggest question is, obviously, is this, a different Tony Stark who, in a different verse, is Victor Von Doom? Or is he just Victor Von Doom and happens to look just like the Tony Stark variant? That's the biggest question that I think audiences are going to be curious about. Is this a different variant of the character that we love? It has been written like that a few times in the comics based upon my research, not from my reading, but it has happened before where the Victor Von Doom character is a variant of the Tony Stark, but most of the time it's a different character. So that's what I'm curious about, and what will it be like when our characters that we know and who fought alongside Tony and were friends with him, what will their reactions be like if they ever see him without the mask on and see his face?
I'm sure will be a facial reveal. Yeah. There has to be. I think what's
just funny wording.
They're gonna have to show that facial, man.
It's the money shot, man.
I think what's really interesting to theorize is, will this Victor Von Doom have some sort of connection to when Tony, with the gauntlet on and all of the Infinity Stones, snaps his finger? Is it connected to that somehow? Was he sort of created when Tony did that? In this other version of himself that became superpowered through the Infinity Gauntlet. Maybe that's what gives him his powers. Because Tony's Tony's human. He's not superpowered. He's just hyper intelligent and just the fucking coolest guy. So he's going from someone who builds tech to make himself a superhero to now having superpowers, obviously. Is it because of the snap? Because that stone has all the powers you could ever need to be the greatest superhero or supervillain of all time. And does that snap from killing Thanos, did it create Victor Von Doom?
I love that theory.
Thanks, man.
I love that.
Yeah. I don't know if that's comic accurate, but
he was born in a different verse as Victor right after the snap. And like his essence was, with the power of the stones, was put into that little baby.
Or maybe not baby, just as already a version of himself, like already adult.
I think it's like if he's born, it's like
born as a baby.
Born, yeah. It's like he's born in a different verse with the powers.
So, yeah. Well, I guess it depends. That's the thing with timelines; it can be any time period.
Yeah, it's a different verse. It's not lined up. Timelines.
Yeah, I more envision just more of a copy. Sort of like the Matrix.
But inverted because he's evil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Something like that. I think there's got to be some kind of connection there, because there has to be an explanation why this version of, if it's Tony Stark or whatever, but obviously it's going to look exactly like him, why he has superpowers.
That's a cool theory, man. I think it makes sense.
Thanks,
Makes
man.
a lot of sense.
Just came up with it.
Really?
I was thinking about it during the intermission, yeah.
That's genius.
Well,
Really brilliant.
I'm sure it's not, I mean, it's kind of makes sense.
Russo's. Did you hear that?
Kind of makes sense.
Did, like, how do you get a hold of the script? No, I think that if you connect it to that moment, that fateful ending to Tony's life, it would make sense. It tracks. It would make sense why Victor Von Doom looks just like Tony Stark.
Sure.
In our verse.
So
like
we have all these heroes scattered across timelines, universes, whatever. What do you think will be, or who do you think will be the source of bringing them all back together? Do you think it'll be Victor Von Doom, or do you think it'll be like Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic? You know, because Nick Fury hasn't been around in a while. Will there be a central figure making the team up happen?
I would say, based upon the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four, they're going to be maybe the catalyst driving it.
The Fantastic Four
Yeah,
will be?
flying into our verse with their ship, knowing the threat, understanding the threat, and then teaming everybody up. That's my guess.
Yeah, and I wonder if Doom, obviously we don't see what happens at the end of the post-credit scene in Fantastic Four where Sue walks into the living room, Franklin's not on the couch, but he's actually hanging with Victor Von Doom, who's crouched down. He's touching his face, right? So does Victor Von Doom kidnap Franklin? Does he take Franklin? And is that why the Fantastic Four are heading to the planet we know, the universe we know, because they're tracking Franklin?
Maybe Franklin's the key for Victor Von Doom.
I think Franklin obviously
Yeah.
is the key to something because that's what's his name wanted in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I
Galactus. Oh, yeah, he wanted to eat him, right? Yeah.
don't know if he wanted to eat him. I think he wanted to keep him as his replacement. Remember?
He wanted to trade him.
Yeah, no, that's what he was going to replace him so that he
Yeah.
could leave the job, so he didn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, he
He wanted to retire.
Finally
bro.
retire.
Yeah, he wanted.
Let me trade you for 30 years
Yeah,
on this.
he wants to take his 401k and just like go somewhere, go to Miami and retire. So obviously, I think Franklin's power.
No, I think he wanted to eat him. I think eating him would have freed him.
No,
from his
Franklin
hunger.
would have replaced him.
I think he said that he would have quenched his insatiable appetite, his insatiable hunger.
His insatiable appetite was given to him, so that's why he eats planets, because he's stuck. He's like basically indentured servitude in this of doing what he does. He needed someone to replace him on that throne.
Maybe I feel like he
was given that insatiable hunger. He wasn't gonna eat Franklin and be full.
I think it was gonna satiate him.
No,
He was
Franklin
very
was
dense.
gonna replace him.
I gotta look this up after. Who's
He's
right?
a little baby.
No, but he had the energy. He had so much energy inside of him that it would have quenched his hunger finally.
Not the energy of a core of a planet.
No, I think more than that. Which
No,
is why he's
no
valuable.
way.
Which is why he's so
No,
valuable.
How? How did his father not detect that?
Movie, man.
Yeah, he was not gonna. He was gonna replace Galactus.
How? How was he gonna? Was he just gonna trade him and
He was
be
gonna
like, okay,
use-
you sit there. Now it's you.
He was gonna be that new bad guy, or whatever it is that the Galactus his job title is. The
VP.
The insatiable hunger was a burden placed on him.
I understand that.
No, but that was, and then he was gonna leave. He was gonna be done.
I understand. No, I'm just disagreeing. I thought he had to eat the little baby.
No, he wasn't gonna eat him. He wanted him.
Hold on, let me
You can look it up. You can look it up. Maybe
Did
I'm wrong. but-
Galactus want to eat Franklin. He didn't want to eat him. He wanted He wanted to consume his intense life energy to end his own eternal hunger.
And
That's
then
what it
Franklin
was.
would have taken over.
No, nobody would have taken over anything. It's not like this is a job title somebody always has to have. Franklin's energy was the only way. It was the way to end his hunger. That's what it was.
Okay. I guess I was wrong. Don't give me that fucking look. That fucking. Anyways, so we were talking about Franklin, but it seems like Franklin is the key of the plot of Doomsday. It seems like,
Yes.
because that's clearly, I think, what's going to happen is Doomsday.
Yes. It says that Franklin had a power so vast it even made Galactus fear him. So Franklin has immense power. inside
And
of
that's
him.
accurate to the movie Fantastic Four.
The movie, yes, not the comics. Franklin has reality warping abilities, which makes him a cosmic nexus, a living power cosmic, which Galactus, who feeds on planetary life energy, found irresistible in his solution. So he has cosmic power inside of him. That's why Doom wants him. So Doom's going to be using him for some kind, as like a weapon, I would say.
Yeah.
He's going to weaponize Franklin, not eat him.
Well, maybe that's what happens is Doom wants to destroy the whole multiverse, and Franklin's the key to connect it all together so we can take it all out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we're just kind of just guessing, making guesses here as uninformed comic fans.
It's speculation, guys.
People are probably
Pure
punching the tops of their cars right now.
No. I feel like we've been having some good They were definitely when we were having a little disagreement about Franklin, for sure. They were like, Anthony's right. James, stop talking.
Oh, man. Well, I wonder, you know what's an interesting possibility is
What's
having
that?
Thanos come back.
I don't want to see Thanos. He's dead.
No, but just like for like a short scene to get killed by Doom.
I don't think we need that. I don't think that's necessary at all. His time's over.
I think it'd be a cool badass scene.
But when would this have happened?
It's the multiverse, bro.
We need some guardrails. That's too much.
Listen, there are no guardrails in the MCU, Anthony. There are none.
That's just I don't know. That's too much. That's too much. There's no need for that.
Well, there's this great sequence from the comics where Doom fights Thanos with the gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones, and Doom literally de-spines Thanos. He pulls his spine out of his body.
That's cool.
Like, how cool would that be to get in the movie? Like the opening.
We're not getting a spine ripped out of someone's body in an MCU movie.
Why not?
It's rated PG-13.
So?
That's rated R.
Nah.
Spine rip is R.
You can do it in a way that's not R.
It's R. There's no way you can do that clean.
You could pull that off.
No way.
I think that'd be fucking badass.
I mean, if you're going to have... You need to demonstrate his power and his threat level. It would make sense for him early in Doomsday 1 to take out a bunch of characters we know are strong. So it could be him versus X-Men in the first movie, and he destroys them all. And then we'll know the threat of him.
Sure. All right, then what's the threat in Dune Part 3? I mean, we've talked about, and this is not secret news. This is an old book, guys. There's a conspiracy to bring Paul and his empire down. I won't tell you who's in the conspiracy, but that's a main plot. But also, what's the relationship going to be with Paul and Chani? Because they obviously have to have kids. So my guess is Chani's pregnant when she left Dune Part 2. We talked about that. That was our guess when we were doing that review back when it came out. So Chani, my guess, when she leaves Paul and exiles herself back to the desert, she's already pregnant with the children. Yeah. Unless they reunite.
So is he getting them on weekends?
Is it going to be...
The biggest threat, I would say, is going to be Paul to existence.
Yeah, sure.
That's the biggest threat, is that our lead character is the biggest threat.
So my one thing is, I think that they're going to reunite and have children together. Because it wouldn't make sense, because Anya Taylor-Joy is obviously still in Lady Jessica's womb when the movie ends. That would mean if Chani's pregnant, then their children, their twins, would have to be adults as well. Anya Taylor-Joy's 27 years old, and Momoa's kids are like 13. So there has to be a period where Chani comes back to Paul.
I think they'll just fudge it.
They'll fudge it?
Yeah.
How?
I don't think that. I think that she's already pregnant when she left at Dune Part 2.
No, but then there'd be a 10-age gap between
I think they'll
children that are...
They'll fudge it.
What does that mean, fudge it? Expand.
They'll just be like, hey, maybe no one will notice.
No one knows that they're 12 and she's 30?
No, she could pull off like 21, 22.
But Momoa's kids are like 13.
I know, I understand.
They can't pull off 21.
They'll fudge it.
No, they can't.
Unless
there's no fudging that.
Unless they're playing their kids for a short period of time in the film, and then we're going to see aged up versions of them. Maybe.
That wouldn't make sense to the story.
What if they did the prologue? What if they don't get? But like you said earlier, we don't know exactly what the time jump will be. So what if if it opens with a prologue with Momoa's kids playing the kids, but in the desert with Shawnee as kids, but then when the story really starts, they're going to be like 20-year-olds, different actors playing them.
I guess, but if the story's going to continue, it doesn't make sense for where Children of Dune goes.
Because they have to be young for that?
Yeah, they're kids. Well, I mean, technically, they're even younger than the actors that have been cast.
Yeah, but McAvoy played them, one of them. McAvoy played Leto when he was like 22.
Yeah, he played like a 15-year-old. Sure,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But they are younger. They're probably like, I can't, maybe like
Again,
10.
that's not. They're gonna fudge that. I mean, Alia was still in the womb.
I know.
So he plays around with ages already. So he will again.
No, but I mean, Alia's still in the womb, but she's not playing around with her age. It's just a vision of his
No,
sister.
he's changing he changed the age of Alia in the story.
Oh yeah. I know
So
that.
he'll probably change the ages of those characters in his story.
No, it's possible. All I'm saying is that if they're all supposed to be the same age, all in the womb at the same time, and Ali is 10 years older, that like you can't fudge that.
I know. Well, they'll either
But
be.
that's why I think that Chani and Paul will reunite.
No, I think she's already pregnant.
That would make more sense.
Yeah, but again, we don't know how long the Momoa kid is going to be playing Leto. It could be for just a prologue, and they have another actor to play him who's older, or maybe they're like Alia ages fast.
No, that wouldn't make sense.
Why?
Because she's still human.
Still, it's a fantasy movie.
There's
There's crazy shit happening in this world, man.
No, if anything, she ages slower because she's exposed to the spice.
Maybe the spice made her sprout. I'm saying if they got to be the same age, they have adults playing the kids later in the film.
Yeah, what my guess is Chani and Paul reunite while Alia's like 7 or 8 years old, but it's already happened. And I think the movie starts. It's going to be curious because
But
the way
then it's
it
like,
ends,
I don't know, yeah, it's going to be pretty convoluted if they're not having their kids until like when? Halfway in the movie? At the end of the movie?
No, what I'm saying is they've already had the kids.
Mm-hmm. So you think what you're saying is when Dune 3 opens, Shawnee will already have had the kids?
Will have already been reunited with Paul as well.
I don't think so.
That's just the only thing that makes sense to what causes them to reunite, have kids. If she didn't leave pregnant.
My theory is she was already pregnant when she left. That's my theory. And she's going to raise the kids in the desert as Fremen.
Well, the only thing that makes sense is then, like you said, they have other actors playing them as adults.
Again, prologue, see what's going on. This is what's been happening. Kids, Paul's taking over the universe. He's being crazy. And then the film starts and we have aged up Leto and whatever her name is.
But my one thing is, like, they are not in Dune Messiah, so, like, what the fuck would they be doing in the movie and the plot? Like, when I think of the book, I can't see where they factor into the plot of the story if they're adults.
Okay, so maybe it's the end.
Because it might be the end as well.
It'll lead into Children of Dune.
Because the children are like Paul in terms of the powers and the visions.
Yes.
So
you're saying they had to have had the kid. They had to have gotten knocked up after he drank the water of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no.
To pass on the powers.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Wait, no. He was already destined and in the bloodline tailored to him.
No, it is after the water of life because their first son isn't like.
Yes, he's just
so. So Alia is the example of what his children will be like because Alia was in the womb when
water of life.
Lady Jessica drank the water of life.
Yes,
and she became a reverend mother and became aware.
So did Alia,
but she also got the powers of foresight. So Alia is like Paul, where Lady Jessica doesn't have the powers of foresight like them, but them two do.
So it would make sense that his kids had to have been conceived after he drank the water of life.
Yeah, so that's what happens.
So maybe near the end of the second act, they hook up, get back together, and then they'll have children that will lead into Children of Dune's the fourth film.
I think so. So if you've ever read Messiah, the pregnancy and trying to get pregnant and having children is a main plot point of the book. I want to talk about like in detail of what's happening or why they're not getting pregnant or if they are getting pregnant. But it's a main part of the movie. So I think that the movie's going to open up not with children, but Chani coming back to Paul.
Why would she come back then? Because in the end of Dune 2, she left.
Exactly, but they'll probably explain it in a prologue. Because, I mean, it's going to be a gap of at least 15 years have passed.
Yeah.
And Paul is the emperor, so if he wanted to, he could go get Chani and bring her back. Mm-hmm. And maybe he convinces her.
Oh, he'll have her captured and brought back
maybe
to him.
by force.
Yeah, by force.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a thing that happened in the movie, the way that the direction the character's going in.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think we're onto something here.
Yeah, so I don't think she's pregnant when she leaves.
Okay.
Based off Anya Taylor-Joy's age, because that wouldn't make sense. And characters don't just age faster in the Dune world because of spice. It's the opposite. They age slower. Technically, in terms of like you live longer.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense. Why he would take her by force and try to force, conception.
Yeah, but then again, it wouldn't make sense to have all these characters that all have this superpower prescience versus just Paul and Alia, because then it's just too many factors going into
and then
the plot.
In conceiving before he ever drank the water, it wouldn't make sense then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you're right. So yeah, but
they're gonna hook up.
They're gonna hook up.
They're gonna hook up for this movie, guys. Some more.
They're gonna have babies. Clearly, this is not spoiling anything. They're literally cast in the movie.
What's the sister's name? It's Leto and who?
Leto the second and Ganima.
Ganima.
Yes, and Leto the first was the first baby they had that died. That was killed by the Harkonnens. Mm-hmm. So in the book, their baby's in the south with the Fremen while they're at war. Mm. But the Harkonnens attack the siege that he's in and kills him.
Right. And then Alia.
Yeah, Alia's already
born. Oh, yeah.
It's
Alia,
Jessica's. The time jump in the book, Alia's already a 3-year-old running around fucking shit up. And she's crazy.
Yeah. She's a maniac.
She is. All right, well, this has been a fun episode breaking down Doomsday. There's not much we know, really, in terms of what a trailer looks like for either one besides the teasers for Doomsday, but Dune, we're just speculating on things that could happen, what we think will be going on, clearly. But at the end of the day, this is going to be one of the biggest days in cinematic history. Which is going to be so fun. Cannot wait.
I say keep the dates. Don't move.
Yeah.
Don't move slots.
It's fun.
Keep it.
Let us know your thoughts on everything we've been breaking down in this episode on Spotify podcasts. You can leave comments on there, which is a lot of fun. We interact with you there. YouTube, follow us there. Patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Leave those likes, subscribe, do all the things that help us. In the meantime, take care.
See you next time.